As the final duel between Yugi and the Pharaoh is nearing its final stages, Yugi activates the card Gold Sarcophagus and puts a particular card from his deck inside of it. If a card with the same name as the card put in the Gold Sarcophagus is activated, then it would be negated due to the anime effect of Gold Sarcophagus. A few turns later, the Pharaoh draws the card that would allow him to win. With Slifer being in his graveyard, there is one card that could help him summon Slifer. Monster Reborn. Atem proceeds to activate the spell card. With everyone watching the duel unfold, there seems to be a clear winner. However, at this point, the card revealed in the Gold Sarcophagus was none other than another copy of Monster Reborn. Thus, the card is negated, leaving the Pharaoh's field wide open. Yugi predicted that the Pharaoh would use Monster Reborn at some point during the duel to special summon a god card. As Ishizu says, it's a way for Yugi to tell the Pharaoh that he no longer needs to stay in the world of the living. Monster Reborn. This iconic card used by Yugi and other characters throughout the series was, in the end, what caused Atem's loss. Let's go back to the beginning of the manga, where this card had more significance than at first glance in universe and even outside the confines of its panels. First and foremost, I wanted to make something clear. The card is called Monster Reborn in the Western world, but the literal translation from Japanese to English is Resurrection of the Dead, which is very fitting and more symbolic for the rest of the series. I will, however, keep referring to it as Monster Reborn, as I am used to that name, and so are probably most of my audience. As many of you may know, Yu-Gi-Oh! Started with multiple games instead of just the Duel Monster card game. It was only in Chapter 7 that we got our first introduction to Duel Monsters, with its original name being Magic and Wizards, and obvious reference to Magic the Gathering. In this chapter, we got our first look at some now iconic classic cards that everyone knows of: Mystical Elf, Battle Ox, Summon Skull, and of course, the Blue Eyes White Dragon. One of the few spell cards used in this duel was also Monster Reborn. The very first duel of the entire series is a shadow game between Kaiba and the Pharaoh. Kaiba, having stolen Yugi's grandpa's Blue Eyes, cheats by stacking the stolen Blue Eyes on top of his deck and summoning it. However, since it is a shadow game, the Blue Eyes having Yugi's grandpa's heart makes it unable to answer Kaiba's orders to attack, and then proceeds to destroy itself. Since Blue Eyes is in the graveyard, Yami Yugi proceeds to use Monster Reborn to resurrect the Blue Eyes from the dead, and then proceeds to attack for game. Even in the very first duel of the series, Monster Reborn played a major role in how that duel concluded. Of course, at first, it was probably just by chance that Kazuki Takahashi created that card, since the card game wasn't supposed to be the main focus of the series. But since the manga shifted towards the card game, Monster Reborn was able to return here and there during the series run. It also allowed Kazuki Takahashi to reuse cards that he previously designed while writing his duels. No need to come up with something new every time. Many duelists made use of Monster Reborn, even in the spin-off series. Just like in real life, the card became a staple card to put in your deck. It adds a touch of realism. During the Duelist Kingdom arc, the author really expanded the card game by a lot. It seems that he was trying to come up with new cards and strategies on every duel without having to rely or reuse the same cards for every character. That being said, Monster Reborn was used by a handful of characters, such as of course Yami Yugi, but also by Kaiba and Mai. Despite the card not having much importance during this arc, it's clear to see that Yugi keeps this card in his deck until the very end of the series. It wasn't until the Battle City arc that Monster Reborn became a very important card in the series. Of course, you had Yugi that used it, Kaiba who had it in his deck, and the one with a whole strategy based around it, Yami Merrick.
My move! I play Monster Reborn!
Merrick's deck provides a fascinating juxtaposition to his background. Born into a lineage deeply entrenched in the duty of guarding the Pharaoh's tomb, Merrick's destiny as a tombkeeper was something he fundamentally rejected. Tasked alongside his sister Ishizu with the weighty responsibility of protecting two ancient Millennium items, the Millennium Rod and Millennium Necklace, Merrick's longing for freedom clashed starkly with his inherited obligations. The tension with his father, who was adamant about the importance of their ancestral role, eventually led to the emergence of Merrick's darker alter ego, Yami Merrick. during a particularly brutal initiation ritual. The situation escalated when Merrick and Ishizu's unauthorized exploration to the surface world prompted a severe reaction from their father. Their father punished Odeon, their adopted brother, by slicing him with heated blades, since he was protecting Merrick and Ishizu from getting caught. As Shadi revealed himself in front of the Ishtar family, their father's death was attributed to the pharaoh's will. Merrick developed a deep-seated hatred against the pharaoh due to Shadi's words. This grudge became the catalyst for forming the Rare Hunters, a group dedicated by any means necessary to collect and use rare cards. His goal was to overthrow the pharaoh and release his family from the shackles of their Tomb Keeper duties. Merrick's narrative is one of conflict and ambition, marked by a desire for freedom, a quest for vengeance, and a pursuit of power. His intricate relationship with his past, his alter ego, and his goals for the future, all while employing Monster Reborn as a key element of his strategy, adds a layer of complexity to his character and motives, making his story a compelling aspect of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Saga. Yami Mari's strategic use of Monster Reborn in combination with the Winged Dragon of Ra is a bold move that speaks volume about his personal rebelling against his own heritage. This isn't just a clever tactic within the game, it's a symbolic gesture loaded with meaning. Merrick, born and bred to be a protector of the Pharaoh's tomb and its sacred relics, chooses instead to manipulate one of the most revered entities in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Universe as part of his strategy to win duels. By repeatedly sending Ra to the graveyard and then reviving it, he's openly challenging the traditions and responsibilities that have always dictated his life. You really have to consider the significance of what he's doing. The Winged Dragon of Ra is not just any card, it's a god card, embodying divine power and majesty. Yet, in Merrick's hands, it becomes a tool to be used and reused, undermining the very essence of its supposed invincibility and sanctity. It's as if Merrick is declaring that he's done being bound by the expectations of his lineage. Merrick's dark self definitely reflects in a more twisted and evil way his desire for freedom by destroying everything in his path. As you can see, during Battle City, Monster Reborn takes center stage as a key card in the story. In this arc, Merrick's story is being told, with this card being the key piece of his dueling strategy. As I highlighted at the start of this video, Monster Reborn was strategically employed by Yugi to convey to the pharaoh that his presence in the realm of the living is no longer necessary. This move also symbolizes Yugi's evolution to a more confident and skilled duelist, surpassing even the pharaoh himself in certain respects. More than just a demonstration of his dueling prowess, it signifies Yugi's newfound independence. The journey through the series transforms Yugi from a reserved and cautious boy into a figure who no longer relies on the pharaoh for protection. This significant transformation is vividly portrayed in The Dark Side of Dimensions, the movie sequel to the manga, where Yugi's maturity and self-reliance are unmistakably showcased. This segment segues into the climactic use of Monster Reborn as a narrative mechanism, highlighted in The Dark Side of Dimensions. Before delving into the movie's narrative intricacies, it's essential to acknowledge the two-chapter special titled Transcend Game. These chapters shed a light on Seto Kaiba's technological advancements, specifically the development of dual links, providing context and depth to the narrative transition from manga to film. For some fans, there may be a bit of confusion regarding the continuity, especially considering that within the original manga storyline, Kaiba is absent from the ceremonial duel that marks the culmination of Yugi and Atem's journey together. This duel, significant for its finality and closure for almost every character, sets the stage for the events that unfold in the Dark Side of Dimensions. The movie takes the opportunity to explore Kaiba's unresolved ambition and his refusal to accept Atem's departure as a permanent loss. In Dark Side of Dimensions, we see Kaiba who is both haunted and driven by the legacy of Atem. Despite learning of Atem's departure from the world of the living, Kaiba's competitive spirit and deep-seated rivalry with Atem fuels his refusal to acknowledge any scenario in which he cannot eventually challenge and surpass his greatest adversary. This obsession not only propels Kaiba's narrative arc within the movie, but also underscores the profound impact Atem's presence has had on his life and ambitions. Kaiba's intense drive to be the best duelist stems significantly from his harsh upbringing under Gozaburo Kaiba, where losing was equated with death. This is vividly illustrated by Gozaburo's dramatic exit, jumping from a high-raised window where he lost the Kaiba Corporation to Seto, and by Seto's own readiness to risk his life during the Duelist Kingdom arc rather than accept defeat against Yugi, although in the context of that duel he was also dueling to save Mokuba. This deep-seated belief that defeat is unacceptable propels Kaiba to extremes, particularly in his quest to surpass Atem. It is also shown in the manga that Kaiba excels at almost every game, except duel monsters where Atem stands in his way. Kaiba himself acknowledges during the Battle City tournament that overcoming Atem is crucial for erasing the remnants of his troubled past, aiming to elevate Kaiba Corporation to further success. However, Atem, a figure deeply intertwined with his history, stands as the singular obstacle preventing his advancement. Atem's presence keeps Kaiba tethered to his past, hindering his effort to fully break away and forge a new path for himself and his empire. Now, revisiting the Dark Side of Dimensions movie, the showdown between Kaiba and Yugi symbolizes the clash between accepting and denying the Pharaoh's departure. This is demonstrated when Yugi hands Kaiba a spell card, allowing Yugi to use Magical Contract Door to add Gandora to his hand. Following Gandora's field-clearing move and its subsequent destruction of Kaiba's Deep Eyes White Dragon, Kaiba sets off a trap card, which in turn activates Yugi's given card, Monster Reborn. This act poignantly reflects Kaiba's refusal to accept the Pharaoh's absence. Yugi, anticipating this, prepares a counter to Monster Reborn, aiming to close any door to the Pharaoh's return, symbolizing his intention to let the Pharaoh rest in peace. It suggests that Kaiba's fixation on reviving the Pharaoh, as demonstrated by his use of Monster Reborn, may have hindered his chances of victory against Yugi, hinting at the broader theme that accepting and letting go of the past could have been his key to moving forward. The journey of Monster Reborn through the Yu-Gi-Oh! Manga is emblematic of the intricate tapestry of themes that Kazuki Takahashi weaves into his storytelling. From its first appearance in a shadow game, with the resurrection of Yugi's grandpa's blue eyes, to its pivotal role in the final duel between Yugi and the Pharaoh, Monster Reborn serves as a powerful narrative device that transcends its role as a mere spell card. Its usage by characters like Yugi and Merrick and its central place in key story arcs illustrate themes of life, death, rebirth, and the quest for identity and freedom from the past. The card's significance is further highlighted in the Dark Side of Dimensions, where Kaiba's refusal to let go of the Pharaoh and his desire to prove himself as the ultimate duelist brings Monster Reborn back into the focus. This relentless pursuit, driven by a complex mixture of rivalry, respect, and a deep-seated need to overcome his past, underscores the card's thematic resonance with the series' exploration of legacy and the struggle against the finality of death. Through Monster Reborn, Yu-Gi-Oh! Delves into the profound impact of the past on the present and the possibility of moving forward. It illustrates how characters grapple with their histories, their destinies, and their desires to forge new paths. The card, with its ability to bring back from the grave, becomes a metaphor for the series' overarching narrative, the struggle to reconcile with what has been lost, and the journey towards acceptance and resolution. Thus, as we reflect on the journey of Monster Reborn, from its humble beginnings to its role in the climactic narratives of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Story, we see not just a card, but a symbol of the series' enduring themes, making it not only a staple of duelists' decks in the story, but also a key to unlocking the deeper meanings within Kazuki Takahashi's legendary saga. Thanks for watching this video. This one took a while, so I'd appreciate a subscribe, like, and comment. Also, I've created another channel where I'll be posting more chill Yu-Gi-Oh! Content, such as duels or pack openings and stuff like that, so feel free to check it out too. As always, thanks for watching and see you next time.